My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married Childers. I was kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama. And this is the family. Dempsey's. This is a photo of me when in high school, and this is a photo when they brought me here. And this is my dad, Edward the Eighth. And this is Elizabeth, the illegal monarch. Her father helped kidnap me. George VI, the Illuminati. Roosevelt, who had a president who had appointed Joe Kennedy ambassador in 36 to help take out my dad. JFK actually helped the son, John F. Kennedy Jr., president, and later he became president. Helped him with kidnapping and actually helped him bringing me to Moulton, Alabama. This is the double that married double didn't marry my father. My father was married to George O'Keeffe's sister, who was Queen of England in 36 and should remain because of an addendum signed in 36 by my father, who did not abdicate to Mary Wallace Simpson. A double did, an impostor. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe's sister, to artist Georgia O'Keeffe from Madison, Wisconsin. Now I want to put this up. So they're illegal. They sold out to the Illuminati. This is not my father that they still blame and say he married Wallace Simpson. Winston Churchill helped in destroying the Windsor files, my name, birthright, my father being married to my mom, and this plot to take him down with a total lie. And she has stayed firm. She knows exactly who my mom is. She knows a double married Wallace. She knows where I am. She's been right through Virginia when I lived on the Appalachian Trail. When the murders happened at Virginia Tech, the 33 were murdered with mind control. She came through here and spoke before the state Senate, I guess, here in Richmond, and on up to be honored in Washington, D.C. with banquets while I'm living on the Appalachian Trail and telling them how the Virginia Tech really happened. This is Larry Flett, Hustler Magazine, April of 84. He did an endorsement I ran for the presidency. I had been out there in 83 in a campaign. He helped me to replace U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald. He was a doctor and physician from Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, where Warren and Rosina Matthews were murdered, who were doctors. And because they knew too much, ideas are made to appear of natural cause, like mind control, programming someone. I was flown out to Mr. Flint's in October twice of 83 during the campaign and stayed in his home. And I didn't win that, but he was shot by a program shooter. And this is April of 84 issue. In Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing a medical malpractice book, MD, A License to Kill. It was about doctors, and it was about more than that. Connections to Center for Disease Control and what's really going on. But anyway, Mr. Flint says I know who was responsible for his shooting. The end of programming, you can make deaths appear of natural cause. Create an illness or cure it back from the Tesla files. What I wanted to put up here when I was flown out to Mr. Flint's then, that was 83, and I came here in 86, and my mom and dad were still alive. A double was buried in 1972 at Windsor Castle, the stubble that married Wallace. My father and mother were still alive and married to each other, and I did meet my mother once here when I came to Roanoke, October the 20th of 86. When I was flown out to Mr. Flint's, I knew his was a programmed shooting. The man was programmed to shoot him, and it killed his attorney, and the judge was pretty messed up. But anyway, Mr. Flynn had been killed in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I was doing the book in 1978, and I was living at Moonraker Apartments in Marietta, Georgia, just a few miles away. So this takedown with Larry McDonald on the plane, the KAL, happened August the 31st of 83 en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. Now then, they knew the plane was going down before it took off because Nixon, former president, who's a part of this whole kidnapping, knew about it and helped and keep up what was being done to me. He was taken off the plane, and so was Geraldo Rivera, the reporter. He was on there, and he got off. Nixon was taken off, so they knew all this was going to happen. My thing is that Mr. Flynn, I never met him. It was because the patterns the murders are done in, because mind control is invisible. I had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd of 79, ongoing investigation, national security involved. So this kept going, and the murders were done in patterns. So the ones I've spoken of, most of them you can prove because of how they've been done, the Aurora, Colorado. And that's all I'm going to say right at the moment. But this, Mr. Flint, when I'd never met him, but I had said from the beginning his was a programmed shooting. The shooter was programmed. And I was met by his limo driver, and I was penniless. I did almost kill me April Fool Day of 80 there in Atlanta and Georgia. And I get off the plane. I'm met by a limo driver. I'm going to turn this around now. I hope that doesn't make this go off. The limo driver told me that Mr. Flint had been his best friend, and he hadn't been able to see him since the day he was shot in March of 86, that he couldn't get calls through him or anything. And he said, "Why did Mr. Flint call me tonight and tell me to pick you up?" He said, "Give him my card. When you get inside and see him, please give it to him and have him call me." So the limo driver took me to Bel Air. Mr. Flint lived there on St. Cloud. And when I went in, Mr. Flint greeted me, and he said, "You don't have to tell me anything about yourself. I know everything there is to know. I know they were going to send you back a vegetable." And I had not at the moment found out about my kidnapping and my father being Edward VIII, who was illegally taken down with character assassination, total lies, by the Illuminati, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and Bilderbergers, my own uncle, George VI, and some in the family, and Winston Churchill, Roosevelt, the President of the United States, and Kennedy, JFK's father, and the Kennedy clan. I mean, they worked me over, but this is what he said to me. He already knew. So I have been putting up here. It's how they tried to kill me over and over, but they did a pretty good job April Fool Day of 80. I should never have recovered. And that's what he meant by sending me back a vegetable to England and who I am. That's their monarch. You can have her back now after we're through torturing the hell out of her and her children, who are your rightful heirs to the monarchy, Mark and Scott. And I just want to say, I was diagnosed after I came here. I had worked for doctors, and nobody ever told me that I was allergic to chemicals. This is back some years. And when I'm around toxic fumes, my immune system attacks itself. And it can, if left untreated, or if you don't remove the odors, the fumes that are deliberately being put there and to cause me to react to them, then I'm a dead duck, and my life has been holy hell. The damage done is unbelievable, with people and me going to YouTube, Facebook, the press, way back about the murders before I knew about my kidnapping and real name. So my kidneys I was always concerned about, and I've put up here on Facebook, and I won't do it again. YouTube, how they've done it. They've controlled where I've lived, and it's been deliberate because of who I am. And now then, rather than me dying, then I guess they'll send me back, if I'm sent back a vegetable, or without my organs. Right now, the fumes, over the years when they've run me around Roanoke and I've tried to leave and I've been made to come back here, I have gone to the press. They all know this. They're afraid of it. And I don't matter. They really wish I would just vanish. So I wanted to say it's come to this. They've disabled me all right. If I still have kidney and lung function and all this and can see, they've slipped in this little bit about vertigo, a certain chemical. And remember, this is used where I live. And it's the, however they can put it in here, you have to have the air conditioning or heating. And it doesn't matter, quite frankly, if I turn it on or off or pull the plug out, it still pours out. It's unbelievable. It can be done, and it is being done. And it's the vertigo is so horrible. But let me say this. I was in the hospital. I went up to the mountains to try to get away from it and camp. And it was done up there both times. I was taken to the hospital in the ambulance. And the doctor, thank God, because I was scared to death, came in, and the first thing he said was, "I like you. I believe everything you're saying." So he already knew it could have worked the other way. Let me clue you. So anyway, now this is, that was in late September that happened. I believe it was, or the 1st. And now then, I'm lying here in bed. They've still used the fumes and everything, and everybody knowing it, and me pleading and begging. And the thing in it all is that they can make you appear as a nutcase, and most people don't care. They just they think if I'm gone, they don't have to hear about any of the things I've been telling about mind control being used to murder rural Colorado. They can mass program people. And the next door to me, in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, and they can create illnesses and cure them back from the Tesla files. But where I'm at now is I went to the doctor because they just moved me from one room to the other. This is the way it's been done at different motels, and I can only afford HUD, and they've done the same thing there. You have to get the people up and under oath to where they lie to get. They would have to be gotten for perjury to make them tell the truth. And I'm going to say this right now. I've had the viral is from breathing the hell and the mess and the fumes from the air conditioning heating that are so vile. God knows what all they put in here anyway. I can't lock the door. They come in at will. And this is going on in plain sight here. Always has been. So anyway, I've gotten to where I just got back from the doctor because my ear, and it's a bacterial infection, but I've been coughing and begging forever, telling what's been done to me. And I am so sick, my ears would pop, pop, pop. And the inner ear is all messed up now from it, and I'm on a antibiotic for it. But I don't know how much damage. I can't hear out of this ear at all, and this one is being affected by it. But tonight I've been on the antibiotics a couple of nights, but tonight, now the vertigo's come back. I can't even turn my head over on this side to lie down without wanting to scream bloody murder from the vertigo. So not only have they got me with the inner ear and the damage done to my hearing, I don't know if I'll come out of this able to hear or even live. So they've disabled me now. So if I were able to go back to England, that's what Mr. Flint meant by that, where they're going to send you back a vegetable. And you should see what they did to me then and all my life, here in this land of the free and home of the brave. They're going to send me back in a casket or how in a bottle, or they did it to Anastasia. She was in Charlottesville near me. Yeah, they killed her and murdered her, and it was Anna. But now I'm going to get off. I might be bothering some of these nice people in here that don't want to hear anything about this. Where I'm living, I wouldn't want to get kicked out of this beautiful place where I'm soaked in fumes and chemicals. And you have to get me away from the fumes and chemicals that are being used on me. All the medicine in the world isn't going to do any good so long as I can't breathe fresh air and it's deliberately done.